So, welcome to Jumbo IS and welcome to our lecture series called Daily News in Shorts. In this lecture series, we cover a particular day's newspaper within a very short span of time within 20 minutes. Today, we are going to be covering the newspaper or the current affairs of August 21, 2024. It was a very good day as far as current affairs are concerned because a lot many news items were covered which were significant for our civil services examination. Now, straight away, let's jump to the topics of the day. What important news items featured in today's newspaper? Okay, there were quite a few. So, in total, we'll be concentrating on these 5 news items that featured in today's newspapers. These are very important for your civil services examination. So, pay close attention. Okay, I won't take that much of your time, but the amount of time I'm going to take, if you spend that time with me with full attention, giving me your 100%, well, it would really serve you well. Okay, so here are today's topics. Number one, recently, India Japan 2 plus 2 ministerial dialogue happened and a joint statement was released. So, what is this 2 plus 2 dialogue? We'll talk about this. Then, a nasal spray has been given approval in USA which would tackle allergic reactions. So, we'll get into the science of allergic reactions. What are allergic reactions and how will this nasal spray help many allergic reaction cases in India also? Okay. Then recently a study was published which found liquid water on Mars. Now this is a very significant discovery, but how did this discovery happen? How did they discover liquid water on Mars? We'll talk about this. Then protection of women against sexual harassment. There is this law in India called POSH Act which protects women from sexual harassment at workplace. Now this was in the news because recently a particular actress from Malayalam film industry alleged sexual harassment. There was this big case going on where it was said that females in Malayalam film industry are not that safe, not that secure. So this act came into the news. That's why we are going to be discussing this act. This act actually protects women from sexual harassment at workplace. And in the end, we'll talk about water spouts because recently a ship near Italy, a yacht near Italy got destroyed, got sunk because of a water spout. Now, what are water spouts? We'll talk about this. All right. So, without much delay, without further ado, let's start with our first topic called India Japan 2 plus 2 Ministerial Meeting. Now, the third edition of India Japan 2 plus 2 Ministerial Meeting happened in New Delhi. And what is this 2 plus 2 dialogue? Basically, 2 plus 2 dialogue is that India and Japan actually hold high level meetings. And these high level meetings are held between Foreign Minister and Defense Minister of India and Foreign Minister and Defense Minister of Japan. Okay, so 2 ministers from India, 2 ministers from Japan, foreign and defense ministers, they meet and they discuss issues that are important from international affairs as well as security and defense affairs or defense partnerships. Okay, so this was the third edition. The first edition happened in 2019, then 2021, 22, and then in 2024 this year. So it happened in New Delhi. And the 4 ministers, 2 from India, 2 from Japan, actually came out with a joint statement. So the main points of the joint statement were, first of all, they actually reiterated their commitment to maintaining rule-based international order founded on the principles as enshrined in United Nations Charter. Okay. Then respect for national sovereignty and territorial integrity. These things, every nation talks about these things, but rarely nations actually respect them. Nonetheless, they talked about the importance of peaceful settlement of disputes. And fourth point is very important. Without naming China, they kind of referred to China. Look at the wording here. Need for all countries to refrain from unilaterally changing status quo. Because China is actually aggressively capturing territory in South China Sea. So in a way, they refer to China by saying that the country should refrain, stop from unilaterally changing status quo, changing territorial status quo. All right. So this was significant. Okay. Both India and Japan consider China to be their strategic rivals. So that was the case. Now, let's talk about what this 2 plus 2 ministerial meeting or dialogue is. Okay. So, what is this 2 plus 2 dialogue? So, the 2 plus 2 meetings signify the participation of 2 high level representatives, ministers holding foreign and defense portfolios. Okay. From each country. Okay. Now, India holds 2 plus 2 dialogue with Japan. But apart from Japan, it holds 2 plus 2 dialogue with USA, Australia, UK, and Russia. The oldest 2 plus 2 dialogue that India has ever held was with USA. Actually, India started 2 plus 2 dialogue with USA in 2018. Okay. After that, India held it with Japan, then Australia, then UK, and even Russia. Okay, the first 2 plus 2 dialogue with Japan happened in 2019. That was in New Delhi. Then the next one, second 2 plus 2 dialogue with Japan was in Tokyo. This one was in New Delhi, the third one. And both countries have promised to hold the next 2 plus 2 dialogue in Tokyo. All right. Now, what else was discussed in this 2 plus 2 dialogue between Japan and India? They must have discussed certain issues that are of bilateral importance, right? So, development and bilateral cooperation. That means India-Japan cooperation. So, recently in 2022, Japan released its National Security Strategy of Japan. Okay, and in that national security strategy, Japan said that it would partner with like-minded countries for defense cooperation, defense and security. So, India is one of those like-minded countries. Okay, then continued cooperation in UN Security Council reform. Basically, India wants a permanent seat in UN Security Council, and Japan is supporting that. Okay. Plus, both sides condemned terrorism, violent extremism. In fact, Japan said that perpetrators of Mumbai attacks, Pathankot attacks, and many other attacks in India, their perpetrators are still going scot free. They have not been held to justice. So, Japan actually said that perpetrators of these crimes and these terrorist acts should be brought to justice. Okay. Then we have certain joint defense production cooperation initiatives like unmanned ground vehicles, robotics. So, successful completion of that was admired by the two nations. Plus, to ensure people to people contact, to appreciate people to people contact, India actually opened a new consulate in Fukuoka city of Japan. So, India has an embassy in Tokyo, plus, India opened a new consulate in Fukuoka. Plus, every year in September, Japan would celebrate India Month and India would celebrate Japan Month so that both countries come closer. This particular point is important for cultural cooperation between the two countries. Other points were important from security and defense cooperation. All right? Okay. Now let's move on to second news item, which is nasal spray for allergic reactions. So recently, United States FDA recently approved the first ever nasal spray for treating anaphylaxis. Now, what is anaphylaxis? It is a severe allergic reaction. Severe allergic reaction is known as anaphylaxis. Okay. Now, this nasal spray would be used for severe allergic reaction anaphylaxis that demands immediate medical attention. Whenever you're suffering from severe allergic reaction, you're given a particular hormone called epinephrine. So, this nasal spray would provide that hormone. Earlier, you used to actually inject yourself with epinephrine. You used to take a shot injection. Okay, but now this nasal spray would make it easier for you to get epinephrine in your body if you're suffering from a severe allergic reaction. Okay, now what is a severe allergic reaction? Whenever a foreign substance enters your body, that might be food, that might be pollen, that might be air particles. Whenever a foreign substance enters your body, and if your body is allergic to that foreign substance, then you have an allergic reaction. You'll get spots on your body, your eyes would get swollen, throat would get swollen, you'll get an allergic reaction, right? So that particle that you're allergic to is called an allergen, okay? And anaphylaxis is the allergic reaction. Okay. This new nasal spray is known as Neffy. It was created by ARS Pharmaceuticals and it is used to treat type 1 allergic reactions. Now, there were various terms discussed, various terms mentioned in these two paragraphs, right? So, we'll take a look at these important terms, these scientific terms. First of all, what is anaphylaxis? So, it is a severe life-threatening allergic reaction which can happen seconds or minutes after you have been exposed to something you're allergic to. Now, some people are allergic to milk, some people are allergic to peanuts, some people are allergic to insect bites. Okay, whenever your body receives something that you're allergic to, your immune system, and let's okay, I'll give you an example. Let's suppose you're allergic to milk. Okay, you're allergic to milk, but I'm not. So what would happen once milk enters your body? Okay, your immune system considers it to be a dangerous thing because you're allergic to it. So your immune system starts producing immunoglobulins immunoglobulins type E. So this is known as IgE. Okay, when these immunoglobulins type E gets produced in response to milk, so what happens? Your body showcases immune response. Your body showcases allergic reaction. You'll get rashes, your eyes would get swollen, you'll get sneezing, you'll have a runny nose, red eyes, itching, all that. These are allergic reactions. And these allergic reactions happen because immunoglobulins are being produced. Why your immune system is producing immunoglobulins? To kill the foreign substance. And why is your immune system killing this foreign substance? Because your body considers this particular thing to be dangerous. Okay. Now, in this case, milk will be an allergen for you. But for me, milk is not an allergen because my body is not allergic to it. Okay. My immune system stays silent when milk enters my body, but it becomes active when milk enters your body. Okay. And you get anaphylaxis. Now, whenever you get anaphylaxis, you're given epinephrine shot. Now, various allergic reactions have been categorized into four types. So there is type 1 allergic reaction, then there is type 2, type 3, type 4. Now, this classification was done by Gell and Coombs classification. So this classification of allergic reactions, just remember the name, Gell and Coombs classification. Type 1 allergic reactions are those allergic reactions that happen very quickly. So as soon as an allergen enters your body, within minutes you will show an allergic reaction. But type 4 allergic reactions are such that an allergen enters your body, but you'll showcase symptoms after 1 or 2 days. So there is a delay. Okay? Allergen, now you know what it is. Now, whenever you have an allergic reaction, you're given an epinephrine injection. What is an epinephrine? So basically, it is a hormone medication that relaxes muscles in the airways, constricts blood vessels, making it the only life-saving treatment for anaphylaxis. As an injection, it is administered alongside emergency medical care to treat life-threatening allergic reactions, which can be triggered by some people are allergic to insect bites, some people are allergic to certain foods like milk, peanuts, medication, some antibiotics, people are allergic to those antibiotics, some people are allergic to rubber, and many other things. Okay, so epinephrine shot is given. Now, let's talk about allergic reactions in India. So, incidence of anaphylaxis in India is underreported because not many people reach the hospitals when they have an allergic reaction. While anaphylaxis caused by venom, insect bites, or antibiotics, medicine is well known, food induced anaphylaxis is becoming more and more common in India. Earlier, anaphylaxis cases in India were mostly because of insect venom or any other bite or medicines. But now, food related anaphylaxis is also being seen because people are adopting foreign foods. Some people are eating foreign foods because of globalization. There are Japanese restaurants in our country, various other things. Okay. So, because of changing lifestyles, this happened. Now, in India, there are three most common allergens. One are foods like nuts, milk, fish, medications like vaccines and antibiotics, and insect venom. Okay, but some people are allergic to air pollen, dust mites, mold, fungus on your wood, right? So these are some common allergens that you can see. All right. Okay. Now let's straight away jump to third news item, which is liquid water found on Mars. Now, what is in this news? So, according to a new study, there could be oceans worth of liquid water deep in the rocky outer crust of Mars. So, there can be liquid water underground, under the rocky crust of Mars. Okay. Up till now, scientists were not able to confirm that there is water on Mars. Scientists only found solid ice, okay, on Mars's poles, but it was in solid form. Okay, liquid water was not present. But now scientists have confirmed that under Mars crust there can be oceans worth of liquid water. Now, this study was published as Liquid Water in Martian Mid-Crust, was published in journal Proceedings of National Academy of Sciences. Okay, and the data for this study actually came from NASA's mission called Mars Insights Lander. Now, what is this Mars Insights Lander? Okay, NASA basically landed a particular instrument on Mars. It looks like this. Okay, now this lander was sent to Mars and it landed on Mars in 2018 and it was retired. This instrument was retired in December 2022. Okay, so the period of its mission was 4 years. Now, the lander was equipped with seismometer. Now, seismometer, what does seismometer does? It actually detects seismic waves. Now, what are seismic waves? Seismic waves are earthquake waves. Now, earthquake on Earth is known as earthquake, but quakes on Mars would be known as Marsquake. Okay, So this instrument used to measure Mars quake, seismic waves. And you'll study in geography that by studying seismic waves, we can, like, scientists on Earth have identified that our Earth's core is solid, our mantle, Earth's mantle is liquid, right? Crust is solid. So densities of mantle, core, and crust, lithosphere, all that stuff. So Earth's layers have been studied by studying seismic waves on Earth. So don't you think if we can find the nature of the material in Earth's surface from seismic waves, we can also find the nature of material underground Mars, under Martian surface through seismic waves. And that's precisely what Mars Insight Lander did. By measuring seismic waves, it was able to find out the types of material under Martian surface. And through this, it was found that Mars has liquid water underground. Okay, so that's about it. All right. Now let's move on to our next news item, which is POSH Act. Now, what is POSH Act? So, what happened recently? The ugly reality of Malayalam film industry stands revealed in the Justice Hema Committee report. Okay. Now, what happened basically? Look, in 2017, there was a case of sexual assault and abduction of an actress, and that created a lot of public outrage. And that brought into question the security of women on Malayalam film sets. Okay. Because of that, a committee was formed known as Justice Hema Committee to look into the matters of sexual harassment on film sets in Kerala. Okay. Now, this Justice Hema Committee report, they actually basically they submitted their report, and the findings were made public on August 19, 2024. And these findings have revealed a lot of bad things in Malayali film industry. Nonetheless, all of this brought into the focus this act, POSH Act. This act was enacted in 2013. Okay, and this act is known as protection of women from sexual harassment at workplaces. So, sir, because you look, we want that our women should also participate in our labor force. We want to improve our labor force participation rate for females. But if females don't feel secure at workplace, how would their labor force participation increase? All right. And females do face a lot of sexual harassment at workplaces. So, for that, this act was enacted. Okay. The act comprehensively defines what sexual harassment is. Plus, this act was actually based on various guidelines issued by Supreme Court. So, before this act, there was no law that protects women from sexual harassment at workplace. And Supreme Court actually identified that in 1997, and Supreme Court said that till the time Parliament makes a law on this, we are issuing certain guidelines which everyone in our country would follow. Okay, and these guidelines would actually protect women from sexual harassment at workplace. Now, these guidelines were known as Vishakha guidelines, and these guidelines actually form the basis of POSH Act. So, Vishakha guidelines given by Supreme Court in 1997, some of these guidelines were put into the POSH Act in 2013. Okay, now, various other initiatives taken by government to protect women from sexual harassment. This is one-stop center scheme where women can complain, Ujjwala scheme, Sudhar Grah scheme, Nari Shakti Puraskar. Plus, India ratified Convention on Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women. Remember this convention, CEDAW, International Convention in 1993. All right. And our last news item is, what are water spouts? So let's take a look at what was in the news first. So at least one man died and 6 people were missing after a luxury yacht was hit by a violent storm off the coast of Sicily, Italy. Now, experts say that this damage on and this luxury yacht was actually hit by a water spout. Now, what is a water spout? It looks something like this. Water spout is a large column of air and mist rotating over a water body. So it's like very saturated, moisture saturated air. Okay, dew or mist filled air makes a shape like this, like a tornado. It is like tornadoes on land and typically lasts for around 5 minutes. At times, it can last up to 10 minutes also. Okay, so very large column of air moving like a tornado. Okay, over a water body. So when a tornado is on land, it is known as tornado. But when a tornado is on water, on oceans, it is known as water spout. Okay, that's the only major difference. Now, water spouts occur when there is high humidity and water temperatures are higher than the above air. So, if air above the water surface is colder than water, then water spouts would form. Now, these conditions generally happen in tropical oceans only. Okay, generally. Now, different types of water spouts. So, there are two types of water spouts. One are tornadic water spouts. These are the most destructive water spouts. They're very powerful. Like actual tornadoes that form over water or move from land to water, they are more dangerous and cause severe damage. Then there are fair weather water spouts. These are much more common and form over only water. They are very less dangerous and usually small. Now, the yacht in Sicily was hit by a tornadic water spout. Okay, just remember this condition. Conditions for water spout are that there should be high humidity and water temperature should be higher than the overlying air. Just remember this. Okay, all right. And with that, we conclude today's session. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. And I'm sure it added value to your preparation, though it would add more value if you're regular and consistent with this lecture series. I always say this. Okay. On that note, I'll be signing off. Thank you so much, everyone.